Battlefield Dossier Season 5, where we delve into the extraordinary stories of courage, brotherhood, honor and glory. I am your host, Ria. As we celebrate 25th Kargil Vijay Diwas, we pay tribute to the brave heroes of Kargil War. Today we have an honor of welcoming retired Group Captain Monish Yadav, who has won a Gallantry Award for his exceptional service in Tiger Hill attack. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. In fact, this is the first time I'm speaking to any media. I've never spoken about it on any sort of social media platform or any media.
So, as we all know, it's not everyone's cup of tea to join armed forces. So, what made you join forces, and was it in the blood or an inner passion?
Okay, so I'll just give you a little background about myself. Starting from my paternal grandfather, who was in the army, he was in the Commemorate regiment. And he took part in both World War I and World War II. So it was actually the British Indian Army. And he had 4 sons, three of whom were in the Indian Army. And my father was in the Air Force. So I joined the Air Force. And my father's eldest brother, his elder son was also in the army, and they were all infantry. Except one of my Taujis, he was in the ordnance.
Okay, so it was in the blood for sure. And sir, we know that you have won Gallantry Award for your service in Kargil War. Tell us about that.
So this is basically called the Mention and Dispatches. It's a Gallantry Award. And it just so happens that my grandfather, who was in Kumaon Regiment, was also an awardee of the Mention and Dispatches. He was also awarded the OBE. And also he had a personal invitation for the coronation of Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, that's great. So, tell us about what happened in Kargil War.
Do you want me to sort of delve into a little history about why this Kargil happened as far as the Pakistani side was concerned? Why this adventure or misadventure they sort of went into? General Pervez Musharraf was at that time the army chief who primarily actually sort of, I think, planned it and, executed it. So, Siachen was basically occupied by the Indian Army sometime in April 1984. Again, it was Kumaon Regiment, I think, who went and occupied the glacier. It has a very strategic importance, okay? And at that time, the Pakistan Army, when they realized that the Indian Army has come and occupied or stationed the Indian Army personnel on Siachen, gave the order to the brigade who was stationed there, Pakistani brigade, to get the Indian Army out from Siachen. So at that time, the brigade commander was Brigadier Pervez Musharraf. So he had that grudge or whatever since then. So when he became the army chief is when he planned and executed it. Oh. And these locations which during the Kargil War which were selected and occupied were not just sort of random sort of locations, So they were very specifically chosen locations to basically overlook the entire national highway running from Srinagar to Leh, as where all the logistics would move or the ammunition was being moved, to basically cut the supply to Siachen and then try and take over Siachen. So finally, the army intelligence, as the summer, all this occupation happened sometime during the winters. During the summers, now the army intelligence came to know that these positions have been occupied, which is on our side of the territory. They had their sources of information. The locals were probably also giving them a lot of information. And then finally the army tried to, I think, handle it themselves to try and take back these locations and drive these people back towards their side of the territory. So I don't know, then subsequently army started taking a lot of casualties and then somewhere down the line, the message was sent to the Air Force that they need us to come into the...
In fact, the government orders were to attack them, but without crossing the LOC, right? This
So that was of course the Air Force, the sort of what do you call instructions issued to the Air Force, that we need to go in, we need to target these positions by air, so that it becomes easy for the army to now take over. But the instructions by the government given to the Air Force were that the LOC is not to be crossed, which we followed. We never crossed. There were some targets which became a little difficult, because from the air when you're targeting, you need a little bit of a run-in, right? So there were some targets which we could not cross the LOC. Since we could not cross the LOC, it became a little difficult, but we sort of improvised and managed to take out those targets from the air.
Sir, tell us about the operation you were involved in and for which operation you got the award.
So I was, like I said, we moved to Adhampur from where we were operating end of May. There were other attacks I was involved in also in the Batalik sector and the Moscow Valley. But the award which was conferred on me was the Mention and Dispatch, which was specifically when the citation was sent to the government for conferring that award on me, was basically for the Tiger Hill attack, which was carried out with the laser weapon.
Okay. Yeah. So can you give the details of how the whole situation went?
Okay. So the Tiger Hill attack was basically had just about 10 to 15 I think people from the Pakistani side who were sitting on top, and like I covered it earlier, it was becoming extremely difficult for the army to sort of go and capture it, and it was extremely important for them to capture it, because this hill, these people were sitting on top and they had the complete view of the entire NH1A, which runs I think from Srinagar all the way to Leh. So your entire logistical movement is moving on that road. Plus, if I'm not wrong, I think the army had a very big ammunition dump also very close to Kargil, which was also in their sight. And so what they were basically doing was directing artillery fire and giving the errors and directing the artillery fire from the Pakistani side. So it was very important for these intruders to be sort of taken out from that position, and it was becoming extremely difficult for the army to climb up and occupy that, and they were taking in heavy casualties. Now the conventional weapons, which are like 1,000-pound bombs or the 250 kg bombs and all, were really not being effective because of the accuracy of those weapons. So it needed a weapon which was accurate to go and attack Tiger Hill, unlike the other positions, at Munthodalo or Batalik sector, where the land was pretty flat or they were on the valley floor. So finally the Air Force sent in the Mirages and with the laser bomb. So it was on 23rd June that we were tasked to this thing. It was an early morning attack. The briefing was done. We walked to the aircraft. We got airborne. Now laser pod has basically two very big limitations. One is if there is clouding, it cannot see through that, or it cannot do the ranging of fire through that. If there's a cloud in between, the laser will not go through that, all right, and the reflection will not come back. And one is if there is a very severe dust haze which reduces your visibility, again the laser pod is not effective in that. So on 23rd June, what happened was there was one cloud sitting right on top of Tiger Hill. So we did couple of run-ins, and because we were running out of fuel now, so the attack could not be carried out on 23rd. So we had to come back. So we went back, of course, on 23rd. We briefed 23rd. The Air Force Chief came to Adhampur, retired Air Chief Marshal Tipnis, and he stayed there and he flew with us on 24th morning. So he was there with us for the briefing, and he got airborne, and he was also in a two-seater with the CO of the commanding officer of the squadron. So 24th we went in for the attack. The training is such that as far as the coordination between the two of us is concerned, it's during training it's very well sort of sorted, and like we are well oiled how to carry out the attack. And the target was acquired, Marshal Nambiar did the ranging, and after that the pod sort of takes over. Then it's all automated. The pod tells you when to drop. The bomb release is also done by the front seat, which Marshal Nambiar did. And after that he carries out a 4G turn to break away from the target, not so that we don't go close to the target. And rear seat where I was, I have just sit and there's a cursor and I have the slew on my hand, left hand. So I have to basically make sure that the cursor stays on the target, because that's where the laser is going to fire. All right, and that's when the bomb is going to pick up the returns and home onto that onto the target.
Okay. So you have to take the 4G turn, and
so the front seat carries out a 4G turn. He brakes, and I'm keeping the cursor on the target till the bomb impacts. So the video is there available on YouTube, in fact, of the attack, and the attack was successful. We broke away, came back, landed on Adampur, and the information immediately given to us was, I think, if I'm not wrong, I think 18 grenadiers from the army had already captured. They climbed up Tiger Hill and hoisted the Indian flag.
हमारी ये आजादी तेरी कर्जदार है शुक्रिया 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 हो शुक्रिया